As I sat in the quietude of our dining room, thumbing the pages of my diary, my gaze settled on the ticking clock. It was strange how time had become both my enemy and friend. As my illness prolonged, every passing second shrouded me with anxiety. But then, every night, I'd eagerly wait for 3 a.m., the only hour when I could escape the cloying silence and feel human for a brief moment. As the melancholy of isolation and increasing frailty lingered, it was only by daybreak that I found a fleeting respite. As the first beam of light filtered through the cobwebbed window, I'd clutch my crumpled bedsheets tighter, seeking solace in the warmth before the dawn drew back its veil. The cacophony of chirping birds pierced the eerie silence, serving as a ray of hope in the encompassing darkness. And so, with the promise of a new day, brimming with uncertainty yet bursting with potential, I'd muster the strength to lift my heavy eyelids, preparing for a battle marked not by ostentatious heroism, but quiet resilience. Always I would mark these little victories in the margins of my diary, not with pride or a sense of achievement, but a grim determination, a silent promise to myself that the approaching dusk wouldn't find me defeated. In those fleeting moments of pseudo-normalcy at 3 a.m., when I felt most human, I had found an unexpected companionship in time. I had turned time from my tormentor into my confidant, an incessant ticking that narrated my story of survival, 1 second at a time. Oh, my dear clock, faithful as ever, yet oblivious to the fickleness of life, I mused. It was during such solitary musings that I had discovered my husband, John's betrayal. A feeling of dread plummeted into the pit of my stomach as the ticking rhythm of the clock echoed the shattering of my heart. My life, once as rhythmic as your ticking, now distorted by deceit, I continued to reflect. It was under this melancholic spell that the truth of John's infidelity had made itself apparent.
I will love you to the end of time until death do us part.
As he said in his wedding vows to me, such a momentous occasion can't be forgotten. He looked into my eyes, his voice quivering with profound love and sincerity. He held my hands, firm yet gentle.
As I declare in the presence of these witnesses,
He began, his voice brimming with emotion.
to take you as my wife, to hold and cherish you, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, in joy and sorrow, till death do us part.
The words that he said in his wedding vows to me still linger in my heart. As vivid as the day those words were spoken, they resonate within me, reminding me of our shared commitment and everlasting love. Every day I reflect on those vows, the token of our unbroken bond, a bond that has been our anchor in the ever-changing seas of life. Every single word is a testament to the journey we pledged to embark together, a journey of love, resilience, and mutual respect. As he said in his wedding vows to me, we are not just husband and wife, but partners and best friends, promising to navigate the trials and triumphs of life side by side. His promises of love, much like the fading chime of the hour, had become nothing but hollow echoes in our once harmonious home. It was with a heavy heart that I began to face the cruel reality of his abandonment, embodied in his silent absences and the cold impression left on his side of the bed. One night, at the stroke of 3, as stealthily as I could manage, I tiptoed into his study. My parched eyes longed for human companionship, to see someone else awake at this untimely hour. But what I found instead was a hastily shoved printed email peeking from under a paperweight. Why would anyone in this world print an email, especially an email from a lover? Perhaps an old-school husband who has barely sent messages to anyone when he is home. It was an email addressed to him by his lover, judging by the contents of the letter. Each word squeezed my heart, but this line broke me.
My darling John, our moments together was beautiful. I cannot wait to be called your wife.
A surge of anger rose within me, yet I collected myself. If I was to confront him, I needed more than just this letter. The following nights, I unveiled secret meetings, hushed phone calls, and gifts. The sense of betrayal was insurmountable, yet I held my silence, biding my time. During the dark hours of night, I became ensnared in a web of dishonesty. Each new revelation caused the abyss to grow deeper, dragging me into a realm of resentment. Their laughter's echoes, remnants of illicit embraces, and the symbols of their lies etched themselves onto my spirit, winding around it like a constrictor snake, every tightening loop a reminder of the unfaithfulness. My heart throbbed intensely, a contrasting rhythm to the deception playing out before my misty eyes. Still, I maintained self-control, wearing this quiet torment as my sole armor. The secret expressions of love transformed into the harsh cacophony of disloyalty. Ghostly recollections of our affection, laced with the sharpness of his deceit, tormented me and created an unbearable void where love once existed. Nevertheless, I ingested the bitter pill of truth, allowing its harsh taste to permeate my being. I skillfully hid my awareness of their covert trysts, preserving my dignity in this whirlwind of betrayal. The once shared smiles, now stained with deception, became my everyday burden as I assumed the role of the oblivious partner, biding my time, anticipating the perfect opportunity to cast off this hideous facade. As days turned into weeks, my health worsened, but my resolve strengthened. I started crafting an intricate plan. Despite my ailment sapping my body, my spirit was untouched. I decided to use the very enemy that had entrapped me: time. Despite the relentless march of time, my strength gradually depleted. Yet unexpectedly, my resolve only grew stronger. This led me to craft a sophisticated stratagem. Illness wreaked havoc on my body, yet my internal resilience remained untouched. I decided to harness the very foe that had imprisoned me, the ceaseless flow of time that we humans are bound to. Riding the unstoppable tides of its march, I fine-tuned the cogs and gears of my plan. Each second's tick, each hour's chime, factored into my grand scheme. While my once healthy body deteriorated, my intact spirit now embraced time as a friend, not a foe. In reinterpreting the boundaries of my predicament, I was not just enduring, I was controlling my fate. As a maestro behind the stage, I had turned time, my alleged jailer, into a tool in my magnificent drama. The intriguing irony lay in the fact that my situation nurtured, rather than stifled, resourcefulness, perseverance, and a resilience that laughed in the face of obstacles. Though plagued with an impediment, my spirit stayed untouched and acted as the silent, indomitable force propelling me forward. Consequently, I was schooled in the greatest lesson of all. The ostensibly fearsome adversary, time, can be morphed into the most trustworthy companion. On an obvious day, I masterminded a dramatic scene involving intense distress and persuaded John to call his closest confidant, Sonia. Completely dependable, Sonia was a seasoned attorney with a thorough understanding of legal documents such as wills. However, she was otherwise unaware of John's treachery. As John sat by my side, holding my feeble hand on the bed, I announced my wish to donate my inheritance towards the establishment of a charity hospital. The room was blanketed by a profound silence, palpable even in John's shocked expression. I could see the dust of dreams weaved by him and his mistress, falling around him, but I held a steady gaze. He shouted,
What did I do wrong?
"Who says you will have to do any wrong to give my properties to anyone?" Sonia followed suit and prepared the will as per my wish, with John having no other visible option than signing the document with feigned solidarity. Perhaps that was the first time he regretted my deteriorating health. Oh, how sweet the taste of this ironic revenge was. Sonia's meticulous crafting of the legal document left no loopholes for John to exploit, ensuring that my final wishes would be executed with precision. John's reluctance to adhere to the terms was palpable, yet he swallowed his burgeoning resentment and acquiesced. I reveled in the discomfort of this forced alliance between him and Sonia, as they reluctantly banded together to execute my will. The dynamics of our relationship shifted perceptibly, with John's once smug confidence now reduced to a shadow of its former self. Victory, albeit through unconventional means, had never tasted so gratifying. 3 months later, resigned to my body's fate, I lay down breathing my last but with a satisfied, victorious smile. John sat beside me, attempting to shed a few crocodile tears. However, his eyes held dismay and disbelief. While my body failed me, my spirit triumphed. I had managed to turn my illness, time, and betrayal into weapons of my vindication. Although John had thought himself clever in his deception, he was not prepared for the resilience of my spirit. My unwavering determination to reveal his true intentions bore fruit, as his newfound greed and treachery came to light. The once loyal friend had been exposed, and the trust that had once bound us had shattered, leaving him isolated and stripped of the power he sought. As I faced my final moments, there was solace in knowing that justice had been served, and that my legacy would not be tarnished by another's selfish ambitions. The triumph of the spirit over physical frailty emerged as a testament to the power of the human will, echoing far beyond the confines of this transient existence. A vile man, an unknowing lover, together bound by their fractured aspirations, it was my invisible adversary that initiated their doom. Adultery, you are unable to divide a soul from its retribution. Surely their wrongdoings, hidden in the half-light, were clearly seen in the broad daylight. Their dishonesty, which was once merely a hushed conversation, now resonated loudly in the once quiet corridors of their marriage, their untruths reverberating forcefully within the harsh reality of their betrayal. A heart that was once safeguarded by trust is now left wide open, forced to witness the secretive desecration of its sanctity. Deception, you are indeed a crafty foe. Nevertheless, you're no competition for a soul that has been shaped by loyalty and reinforced by honesty. As sunset wraps the world in darkness which gives way to a new dawn, justice will likewise emerge victorious. Amid treachery, hope springs forth, a phoenix reborn from the ruins of deceit. Ah, retribution, you are indeed a steadfast ally against dishonesty. This is my story of deception and sorrow that takes place in the hidden depths of human longing. Dishonesty grew within the very walls of trust, forming a toxic snare that ensnared both the blameless and the malicious. A once loyal wife, now aware of the deceit lurking in her own home, sought retribution for her tarnished love. Her resourcefulness, unknown to those caught in their own devious schemes, was ready to target the heart of their betrayal. Indeed, misery came to those who chose to be unfaithful, as destiny exposed its harsh grip and destroyed their ill-conceived lives. As the sun sets on the eve of treachery, one truth will stand. Justice, like the vengeance of a falcon, will descend and recover what was taken.